You see the cheese. I'm talking about that smile. The San Francisco 49ers are now 7-3 after defeating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They held down the fort at home, and we got one guy on the team that I like to call Mr. Perfect. Stick around. Let's talk about my man Brock right here on the Wayne Breezy Show.
We so bright that we shining. All we know is the Niners. Red and gold at its finest. We so faithful to the Bay. We so bright that we shining. All we know is the Niners. Red and gold at its finest. We so faithful to the Bay. Yeah.
Faithful to the Bay. Yes, red and gold. The red and gold is in the building. What's going on, 49er faithful? Make some noise. That's right. The Niners are back. 2 games in a row. They have been victorious. I like it. I like it. Shout out to everybody out there. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the Wayne Breezy Show. We are back. I do apologize that there was no overreaction show from the Nitty Gritty Niner crew, but there will be a show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss it, man, because they're going to talk about picking your poison, which is what we're going to have to figure out because Seattle is next. How will the Niners defeat them? Stick around. We'll talk about it later on tonight. Check this out. I did have a podcast last night. It was exclusively on Bleacher Report. If you're not following me on Bleacher Report, listen, there's a Bleacher Report app. Go ahead and follow. Your boy is with Bleacher Report now. You got to go over there. I do exclusive shows for them and follow their format and things. It's a 30-minute show. You don't want to miss out on it. I'll make sure I try to put the link in the chat. Shout out to Bleacher Report out there for putting out that exclusivity. I think I just made that word up. All right, listen, I see a lot of people out there. We're going to talk. Listen, go ahead and get your residency caps. It's holiday season, Black Friday. There's a special going on. Check it out. Go to www.residency.com. Use the promo code SF Breezy. Save on your purchase. Will save $5 plus whatever promo that they actually have going on the website. So you're not going to want to miss out on that. Black Friday is this week, the day after the 49ers defeat the Seattle Seahawks. You're going to want to shop. So go ahead and check it out. Use that promo code SF Breezy. All right. Shout out to our sponsors. Did I just sit here and say or confirm or affirm or speak that the Niners were going to win on Thanksgiving? Who cares? I don't have a problem with it. Shout out to my man Nick Nice, who was first in the building. You got to give him some shout outs, man. Shout out to Nick, man. Appreciate you, man. And thank you for being a member of the Breezy Bunch crew. We do appreciate it. We got a bunch of Breezy Bunch crew members in here. Matthew's in the building, says, I'll be at work when the show starts. Hope everyone has a blessed day. Go Niners. Brock Purdy is the man. I promise on this episode, I won't mention about Brock Purdy being elite. I promise. I'm lying, but I promise. Peachy Brown, what's going on? She says, hey, everyone, we 7-3. We 7-3. We 7-3. I like that. It rings. Thank you for tuning into the show. All right. Please smash that like button. Click. All right. Hit that like button, guys. And if you love what you see, please subscribe. And don't forget, you can join the Breezy Bunch crew. Listen, this is what joining the crew means. Number 1, you get some perks. Number 2, you're actually supporting what I do here on this channel and all the people that work behind the scenes like Peachy. You're supporting that, right? So if you want to become a member, go ahead and join for the low. Shorty got low. We got, look, I'm just having fun. Don't mind me. Red Jet Shell is in the building. She says it's 9 time. She also followed up with a good morning. What's going on, Red Jet Shell? Hope you're feeling better. I saw yesterday that you weren't feeling too well, but the Niners got the dub, so I'm hoping you were able to celebrate. Don't bother me in the building. Well, Shell and Nick, long time no see, just chopping it up with everybody out there. That's what's up, man. My man Colin in the building from across the seas. Hashtag with the BB. What's going on, Terrence? Don't bother bother me respectfully, bro. I'm just looking for the first message that I see by you guys. Brandon, what's going on? Marty Marr, 49er Empire in the freaking building. JP hella hard. We get to hang out this weekend, bro. Can't wait. Not a Game podcast. My man Dion's in the building as well. Shout out to all the Breezy Bunch member crews, man. Rob D's in the building. I definitely said I'm going to show you some love. I haven't seen or heard from my Uncle Scott in a minute. What's up, Breezy? Uncle Scott, you tell me what's up. The Niners are back to doing what they normally do. The Niners are just back to being themselves. Listen, my man Kylie is having a birthday. Is it tomorrow? I don't know. But if it is, we going to celebrate. But they did get a dub for you, man. Speaking of birthday, yesterday was Fred Warner's birthday. Oh, I did not get a chance to put the poll question up because your boy Breezy was at the gym later than what I expected. See, what had happened was my app started and then it stopped working in the middle of me working out. So I'm like, oh, I can't work out without the app kind of, calculating, calibrating what I do. So I had to start my whole workout over. It was, when I tell you I'm extra sore, y'all have no idea. Eddie G and the B-Dogs has been a member for a year. I don't know why it says 12 months, but that's a year to me. Oh man, you are the best. I love you, bro. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate all that you do. And the Niners got to win too. So yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. All right, here we go. How you come in here starting stuff already? That's what had happened was, I'm serious, but here's the poll question, and we're going to talk about it toward the end of the show. All right, so listen, I'm not going to ask out loud, but I'm going to say this. Blank, 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 dot, dot, dot. All right, here we go. I'm going to put the blanks in there. I'm not going to spell their whole names out because it takes forever. Boom. I say boom, chicka boom. I feel like I'm going to be leaving somebody off this list. But they only give me 4 options, so it is what it is. All right. Cool. So I'll put 2 offensive people and 2 defensive people. All right. The player of the game is, do not put it in the chat as of yet. Okay. Don't put it in the chat as of yet. Okay. Don't put it in the chat. All right. Here we go. All right. So look, let's talk about some of the things that went down on last night. Let's recap. It's Victory Monday, ladies and gentlemen. It's Victory Monday. You know what we do for Victory Monday? Not only do we take shots on the overreaction show, which we did not have, but we drop bombs on them. Yes, we dropping bombs on them on this Victory Monday. This is a good Victory Monday because it was just a show of hands. You could put your thumbs up in the chat. I'm curious to know, you were watching this game, and did anybody else other than myself get like the weird feeling in the stomach? Like, oh snap, Tampa about to score. Oh snap, they about to score again. And then the defense did exactly what the defense did. Like they did what they did. Like, did anybody else get this weird feeling that this game could have went a different way? As I'm watching the game, I'm like, yo, the Niners look like they were in full control. All right, what's going on, Shane from Mississippi? What's going on, my dog? But I'm sitting here saying to myself, oh man, like we got hands up. I didn't say I was worried. It's just a feeling that it could have went left. Different than being worried. Was never worried. I felt like the Niners were in full control the whole game. I truly did. I felt like the Niners were in full control. I felt like there were times that they could have went out there and just kind of dictated how they wanted this game to go, especially offensively, right? And then what I started learning about the defense is they've been and don't break. Like they're still on that mantra, like which is kind of like the first year, that Robert Saleh mantra. Then maybe next year we'll get more of the swarm. But my point is, They did exactly that. But, before we recap this game, just as far as breaking news, you guys, I'm sure you already know. I'm sure you've already heard. But we do want to talk about 49ers all-pro safety Talanoa Hufanga is going to be out for the remainder of the season. It has been confirmed from head coach Kyle Shanahan that he had torn his ACL, and it had to happen. And I feel bad because it was on a play where he looked like he got skated up. And I did put out that he got skated up because he did get skated up, but I didn't know that he tore his ACL in the process of getting skated. You saw him kind of slip down on the field, and so the ligament in his knee torn. It torn, and unfortunately, he's going to be out for the season. Now, listen, our prayers go out to him because if you want to talk about a young kid that came into the NFL and just took the league by storm, and you can see that he's continually learning in the process of how to play defensive back under Steve Wilkes, which is a little bit different than playing under D'Amico Ryans, who used him more as a weapon. And Steve Wilkes is using him, it's getting him right and acclimated to how to play defensive back in a secondary, which is the one thing that I felt like the one player I thought was going to benefit the most from Steve Wilkes. I got a lip gloss. I gotta fix my lips. My apologies. Okay. And it is 49ers, just so y'all know, but I do have my own brand, which is all made from all natural stuff. I just don't have them down here. And has like a banana oil flavor, used with bananas and stuff like that. But anyway, so yeah, look, Talanoa Hufanga will miss the remainder of the season. And it's crazy because he was. Let's not. I don't. All right, let me ask this question: do you guys feel like, and this is has Hufanga, was he having an All-Pro season this year? I don't think he was, because I thought he was now entering the school of hard knocks or the school of hard Wilkes. And so like I don't know. I didn't think he was having an all-pro season, but he was definitely trying to learn how to play defensive back under this system. And symmetry, when I say, listen, bro, I love you, but sometimes, man, you just ain't. But you're right. Can't blame the turf, even though it was weird because I felt like there was a time somebody went down and I saw these pellets pop up, but I knew it was dirt from the grass. We got the Mississippi crews in the building today. That's what's up. So yeah, unfortunately his ACL's torn. Now we will talk about his predecessor, and the guy that kind of stepped in and kind of did his thing. And I'm going to give you my take on Jair Brown for sure. I saw Callie ask me about Jair Brown. We'll have that conversation on the show for sure. You guys know I was high on him in the draft. I thought that was the guy that the Niners should have went after, and I gave you my 3 reasons. I bet y'all can't remember the 3 reasons why I thought the Niners should draft Jair Brown, but I'm glad that they did, and you kind of saw them in this particular game. But if you don't remember my 3 reasons, number 1 was he was a ball hawk. Number 2, tackles for loss. That's what he does well. And number 3, he has the potential, like he was the best defender in that Penn State secondary, which is crazy because he was the best defender the year Jaquan Brisker came out, which was the prior year, and I wanted Brisker at the same time, who's now a Chicago Bear. But who else went out from Penn State in that draft? What's the cornerback from the Pittsburgh Steelers? The junior, he's there too. But I'm glad that Jair Brown has been doing exactly what George Kittle said, and you can tell when a player has been in this system and has been soaking it up, right? Kittle said that he was the sponge. Kylie, you have to stop because this is what I meant. This is what I meant, right? And I didn't mean no harm because at the time that this happened, didn't know that his ACL torn. Okay? But I'm telling you, what I saw was like AI crossing up Michael Jordan. That's what I saw. That's what I saw. That's what I saw. I saw a reflection of Allen Iverson saying, "Yeah, I got you, old goat," and then boom, boom. It was the bam, bam. It was the quick hitter, and I think he planted his feet, and next thing you know, he couldn't grip his balance and things like that. Yeah, CGSU for life. I try not to pay attention to this chat, but I'll tell you right now, you thought he went to Michigan. Nah. I follow the Big Ten. I follow the Big Ten players. I'm a Big Ten guy. I'm not an SEC guy, but I have no choice but to watch SEC football, right? Have no choice. But yeah, so I will give you my take on Jair Brown. But look, Huff was probably his worst game prior to tearing his ACL. But listen, nonetheless, we're praying for you, Huff. Speedy recovery. And I can't wait till you get back. You're going to come back stronger. You're young. That's the best part, right? Technology is great, and he's young. And so he'll be back better than no time. These things happen. ladies and gentlemen, like the ACLs, the ligaments, they just tear. You try to go one way, you stop it, the knee going the other way and rip. And then it's a weird pain, right? It's a weird pain. Same thing with the Achilles. It could just go pop at any time. A little rubber band in your heel to the foot, right? So these things happen. But look, we're definitely going to be praying for him. Shamar John Charles also was injured in this game. So I'm curious to know, don't know what his injury, it's a shoulder injury. So it must have happened on special teams. But I'm curious to know, does this give the 49ers the leeway to now this week sign, cornerback Jason Verrett? Do you guys think Jason Verrett will be a 49er this week? Short week. It's going to be super weird. What's going on, Keys? Short week. It's going to be super weird. It's going to be super weird. But now with the injury to Shamar John Charles, there's and Nick Nice. Listen, Nick, I'm with you, bro. I feel like they made the acclamation that it was possibly going to happen. Symmetry says, yes, I hope so. Peachy's going with the absolutely. See, I pays attention to y'all. Y'all think I don't be paying attention. I be looking at myself like, listen to the people. The community know. Breezy know what the community knows. So at the end of the day, Colin says definitely on the practice squad. I can see this week being practice squad if they sign him, and then they find a way to bump him up to the active roster, especially if he stands out. Let's say he gets through a good week of practice and things like that. So we'll see. Guys, wait around that it possibly will happen. Case 49, what's going on, bro? It's a possibility that it may happen, right? So we may see the return of Jason Verrett, which I like. Look, you bring a vet in there, and now you got a veteran in that room that could continue to help these young pups. Right? Help the young pups, which I thought Diamador Lenore had a great game too, by the way. Joel, what's going on, man? All the way from Guam. I appreciate you having the time to tune in. I'm hoping everything is going well with you and the family over there. I really, truly do. But listen, I'm sure the Niners are going to try to look to bring in some guys. They're going to work some other guys out, but they like the workout with Jason Verrett, so there's a possibility that he'll be there. But again, those are the two injuries that I got from Kyle Shanahan from this particular game. And let's talk about some of the highlights in this game, right? Christian McCaffrey, first touchdown of the game, starts a new streak. We got to talk about Brock Purdy for a little bit. All right, the show's about Brock Purdy, so let's spend some time on Brock Purdy, who is nominated as the FedEx Week 11's Air Player of the Week. So make sure you go to NFL.com, vote for Brock Purdy so that he can win this award. I'm charging every 49er faithful I don't care if you don't like the 49ers. If you like me, you're going to vote for Brock Purdy. And when all right, here we go. You ready? I'm going to give you his stats just in case y'all took a leap and forgot what this man did. Now, if you play fantasy football, dude almost had 30 points. All right, that's number one. I'm like, damn, I benched him. I'm going to say it one more time. Damn, I benched him. All right, so I try not to slap myself hard, but it hurt. So, yeah. 30 points on the bench, just chilling. Now, listen, 21 for 25. This dude missed 4 passes. 333 yards, 3 TDs. He was averaging 13.3 yards per attempt. He had the long john to my man Brandon Ayuk, a.k.a. BA, a.k.a. BA 1K, 2K, 3K more, right? He was sacked 4 times. Let's talk about the perfect passer rating because, ladies and gentlemen, introducing Brock Purdy, a.k.a. Mr. Perfect. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, if I had some bubble gum, I would do the Mr. Perfect because that's how I see Brock Purdy. Usually you say when things are just going well, I mean, come on. But when things are going all right, for the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, and everything wasn't going all right because he was pressured like a numerous amount of time, right? And so when you look at Brock Purdy under pressure, he was taken down 4 times. You can tell, here's the thing, you can tell Kyle Shanahan and Brock had a conversation about one thing when under pressure. take the sack. Take the sack. Take the sack, right? How do I know? There was a scramble that I know Brock. You know Brock. We know Brock. And Brock was going to try to get that ball out of his hand. And then that conversation of him and Kyle Shanahan must have recollected back into his memory. And that dude just said, bump it. I'm not throwing this ball. Why? How many intentional groundings over the past 3 weeks we've seen from Brock Purdy? 3, 1 per game, something like that, like an intentional grounding call, which almost had an opportunity to be like a fourth one because there was one sack, I think his first sack that he took, where I thought Brock was going to be like, I'm getting this ball out of my hand. There was also one sack where Brock just looked at the sack and was just like, I'm just going to take the sack. Listen, you ain't open. I mean, I counted 3 to 4 seconds. It just stood there. Hit him right in the face. Psh, I'm like, Brock, you got to get rid of that ball, dog. Now I'm thinking that's going to be the next level of his game. I don't know. He is him, slim with the tilted brim. What's my motherfucking name? Snoop Dogg. You singing a different song, but that's what jumped into my head. But yeah, I thought Brock was brocking again. Brock was brocking. Had a solid first half. Came out and closed it. Niners did get halted on some drives. We'll talk about the drives. Let's go through the drives too as we recap the game. But don't forget to vote for Brock Purdy, FedEx Player of the Week. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Brock Purdy and his perfect passer rating. Before we do that, we got a super chat contribution from a man, Sean the Dawn. That's his new name. What's up, Ben? Brock is it, bro. I'm trying to read it like you. Only getting better. Dang, bro. When we see a bomb like that, you got that bomb on me. You dropped the bomb on me. And for my Gap Band fans out there, or for my AT aliens, aka the Outcast fans, bombs over Baghdad. Bombs. That was a bomb. That was a bomb. You know what? When he dropped back, y'all can ask Peachy because Peachy would confirm just about everything. When he dropped back, I said it was a touchdown. On that play, the 76-yard bomb to Brandon Ayuk, when Brock locates man coverage, oh my God. These defenses got to stop being stupid. When he sees man coverage, he is going to throw it to his man. He don't care if his man is George Kittle. He don't care if his man is Deebo Samuel. He don't care if his man is Christian McCaffrey. He don't care if his man is Kyle Juszczyk. He don't care if his man is Elijah Mitchell. He don't care if his man is Juwan Jennings. He doesn't care if his man is Ronnie Bell. And he damn sure doesn't care if his man is Brandon Ayuk. He is hoping his man is Brandon Ayuk. You know why? Because Ayuk is going to create something called separation. SEP oration. That's what Ayuk does. He gets open on every play. The moment I saw one guy had a safety at the top, the moment I saw the safety not in the play, I said, this ball's going to Brandon Ayuk, man. And once he caught it, it was a touchdown. You knew it was a touchdown because when the safety was trying to catch him because the cornerback fell down and got hurt, Jamal Dean, rest in play. Don't want to say rest in peace, rest in play. Yeah, that was funny. Now, I heard that stuff that he said throughout the week was untrue, that was fabricated and things like that, but it was put out there and he ain't deny it. So at the end of the day, maybe he said it. Anyway, all I'm saying is Brandon Ayuk got open, and after that, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. It was a wrap. No pun intended. 76-yard touchdown bomb. And I was like, OMG. Brock is in his bag. You know why? Because everybody, system quarterback, dink and dunk, this and that. Yeah, he does all of that. And he does it the best. The best. He does it the best. He's better than Jimmy Garoppolo was in this system. He's better than any quarterback that we've had in this system. And I ain't seen nobody. You know what happened? Because Brock set a record, right? Third quarterback in 49ers history with a perfect passer rating, 158.3. I don't even know what that means. Brock said he didn't know what it meant too. Just so y'all know, I'll be watching the press. So at the end of the day, I'm saying to myself, okay, He sets the perfect passer rating. He don't know what it means. Breezy doesn't know what it means. It just means he's perfect because they said it's perfect. I don't know how they got the number. I don't know what the hell 150. Why couldn't it just be 160? Like, I don't get it. I don't know. I don't know if that number changes because of attempts. And I don't care how you calculate it. At the end of the day, he was perfect, a.k.a. elite. I said I wasn't going to say that word, but I told you I was lying at the very beginning of the show. But here we go. It's not about him being elite. The reason why I brought that up is because I'm saying to myself, okay, Brock is out here not making the same mistakes that he made. He's learning from that. On top of that, he's continuing to progress. But we call him a system quarterback. So you know what I had to do? I went back and I watched the 1989 game, Week 10, against Deion Sanders and the Atlanta Falcons. I watched it. Go check out my Instagram. There's a clip up there. We got a member, Notorious JV, a.k.a. the advocate for my man Juice Check, is in the building. Became a new member. You were already a member, but I don't understand YouTube and their memberships, but I do appreciate you for becoming a new member. Thank you so much, Notorious GAV. Here we go. I watched it. So when I watched it, guess who I was watching doing dink and dunk passes? Matter of fact, what if I said Deebo Samuel is more like Jerry Rice than Brandon Ayuk is? Y'all gonna slap me. I get it. Matter of fact, if you go and watch that game, Jerry Rice's first touchdown was a Deebo Samuel looking like type of a touchdown. Sounds like a screen to me. Looked like a little dinky dunk to me. And guess who the quarterback was? It was Joe Montana. I'm talking about the way that they used him. I'm not talking about as far as caliber status at wide receiver. I'm just saying the way that Jerry Rice was used on that touchdown, on that play, that was a Deebo Samuel-esque play. It was a wide receiver screen. Jerry Rice took it, slanted it in, and just made everybody miss. Doesn't Deebo do that? That's the comparison. I'm sorry. I would never, ever compare the two. You get what I'm saying? I'm going to take my meds. I promise. As soon as I finish, I got more supplements. But here we go. At the end of the day, I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. If Joe Montana was cool with the dink and dunks and everybody accepted it, like, he looked like a system quarterback to me. I don't even know what that means. Like, a system QB? Like, I felt like the other quarterbacks that we had in here, they were trying to figure out the system, but they couldn't. They weren't good enough. Oh, see, this is why that boy Water talks the talk. This is what Montana dinked and dunked. I thought check down. I swear to goodness, if we don't have more check downs in this offense, I'm gonna scream. I saw one check down play to Christian McCaffrey, and I'm like, why is he not an option on every play? Why are we the only team without the check down option? They don't all got to run 95 go routes, in slants, cross slants, slant fades. They don't got to run all. Give me one guy that checks, releases, and is just waiting for Brock to save the play. Ain't nobody defending him. Y'all gonna cut this Ohio State crap out, Tommy. I'm not gonna have that here. Listen, my friends are Ohio State fans. I'll leave it at that. But come Saturday, they could get to work. They could get the business. They can get these hands. They can get this. They can get whatever. It's going down Saturday. But no, seriously, look, I just love that Kyle Shanahan's offense is more than dink and dunk, and he's been trying to show us. And I don't think people are starting to I don't think people realize that, like Brock Purdy, it's starting to make sense when we paint the picture of Brock Purdy. When you go back to training camp, when he was cleared to throw, we kept saying that he was missing these throws. He was inaccurate. Yeah, he was getting the ball down the field against a top-tier defense, and he was missing. And maybe he was missing because he wasn't good enough then, but he was gaining that confidence so that he could take his opportunities in the game. That 76-yard throw isn't the first one we saw him attempt. Remember that one throw he overthrew BA? Are we forgetting that he overthrew BA a couple weeks ago, and we were just like, oh, he's got to hit that throw. And then remember BA like dropped one. We're like, oh, he's got to catch that. They're just getting in sync, man. It's something beautiful. It's something beautiful. I couldn't figure out why Kylie told me to slow down. I get it. I forgot. I didn't mention Ohio State. I don't never bring y'all up, but Y'all friends? I said we was friends. And then Peachy want to be negative and say stuff like, X again. I see what you doing. You know, that's cool. But back to Brock Purdy, back to this 49ers offense. That looked good. You know what? Still confuses me about the San Francisco 49ers. And it's going to hurt. It hurts my soul. I can't figure out third down conversions to save my life. 4 for 10 is not good. 40%, which I think they got a little bit better than last week. I asked them to just get incrementally better. I have to go check last week's third down percentage, but they had 10 opportunities. They only converted 40% on them. They were 0 for 1 on fourth down. I mean, these are ways that the Niners have to, still get better. You're coming into the part of the season where you're going to be playing the toughest teams, the toughest defenses. And you know what makes them tough? Not only that, for the San Francisco 49ers, you got Seattle, you got Philly, you got Seattle, and then there's other teams as well. But you know what makes it more tough? Teams are scrapping. They're fighting to get a chance and an opportunity in the playoffs. You got to be better on third down. You can't have 10 opportunities and only complete 4 of them. And then if you really want to know what pissed me off about yesterday's game, and that's the thing you're going to get with me, right? You're going to get the good, the bad, and the ugly. I count, there were 7 penalties for 66 yards. Luckily, that last penalty was the last one where I was just like, there's 7, and then it stopped. But it started with a special teams penalty. I don't know if you guys remember. And I'm like, damn. We just got to get a penalty. It was a George Odom penalty. It was like interference with the kicker. It was 15 yards. You just gave him 15 yards. And if I'm going to keep it a buck, the times that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers even scored in this game was off of penalties. They had penalties. It helped them tremendously. And I mean big penalties too. Like the pass interference call on Fred Warner, who I thought played like a machine in this game. That penalty was booked. I thought it was ticky-tacky, man. I didn't see the super extension of the penalty, so I'm just like, whatever. I got to shout out to some members, Notorious JV. I told you 2 weeks ago we still contenders. Yes, you did. He ain't just talking about he told Breezy. He told everybody in this chat. I just want to make that clear that he told everybody in this chat. Colin Snead upgraded the membership to gold. That's what I'm talking about. One more upgrade, bro. You'll be at platinum. You might as well just go all in. You know what I'm saying? Like gold is like the middle tier. You might as well go. Maybe that is the top tier. I don't remember. I think they changed. My bad. But I appreciate your contributions and the love that you show and the support that you show, just for being across season, tuning in. You have no idea what that means to me. All right, here we go. So I'm sitting here saying to myself, this is a good game. I liked how the 49ers dialed up. They got down the field. They got down there. They marched down there. I want to go through the recap of the game. And so, like, the only time the Niners confuse me, some of the play calls throw me off a little bit. There was one drive where, all right, I'll get to that. First drive offensively, the Niners rush. Look, I don't want people to get upset at these particular type of plays. The Niners use Deebo Samuel to stretch the field laterally. That means east to west, west to east if they run it the other way, horizontally, whatever word you want to choose, use it, okay? But it all means the same thing. They all mean the same thing. Please, trust me. So what they did was, it was for a negative play, it was for negative 1 yards. I thought he got 1 out of that. But it was for negative 1 yards. But then on the next play, this dude, Brock Purdy, dials it back with pressure in his face and hits George Kittle down the middle of the field. I'm just like, Brock is the man. Brock is the man. And then I'm saying to myself, okay, why not run it again on first down? I know they were going to try to attempt. It was like play action pass too on like it was a negative run and then we went play action pass. That was dope. It wasn't even a positive run. It was a negative run and then we went play action pass. I'm like, that's dope. That's dope to me, right? Didn't even run it successfully and was still going to play action pass. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then I'm saying to myself, okay, Brock is going to be Brock. Incomplete pass on the next joint, then a short pass, and then it was the sack. The sack, and then we had the punt. So that was our first drive, right? That was our first drive. Defensively, I mean, I will say, and I got to go through the negative plays and the explosive plays. They weren't many. They weren't many. They weren't many. Weren't many at all. I thought the defense came out, set the tone again. The Niners had the ball first. Defense came out, set the tone. Incomplete pass, short run, another incomplete pass, punt. Then the Niners got the ball back, and I felt like you could say that they were helped out with the holding call, but they get the touchdown on that long play drive and things like that. So here's what the Niners are doing. They're methodically or surgically dicing you up. And then they come out and they go for what I like to call, I swear I'm not a huge boxing fan, but I had like Fight Night, and that was like one of my favorite games of all time. And then they just would go for haymakers. I mean, if you had the power, you would just go for the haymaker. Because the haymaker was that Brandon Ayuk 76-yard touchdown pass with like it was the quickest touchdown I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm like, okay, the Niners are just back. But the Niners do Niner things. And that's why we got to get the Niners to stop doing Niner things. Stop committing the silly penalties. I thought the offensive line played relatively well, even though they gave up the 4 sacks. Some of those sacks were kind of like on Brock Purdy, just not getting rid of the ball. But in particular, when you look at the passing chart and what Brock was doing, he was getting rid of the ball. He was definitely getting rid of the ball. It wasn't super quick. He was looking for the intermediate to the deep routes in this game. That's why some of those sacks happened. Plus, there was coverage down the field. I do want to point that out. Myzael! Hope I said that right, man. Mr. Peterson in the building. Super chat contribution says, Brock is not dink and dunk. All quarterbacks use the whole field. They're not out here shooting threes all game. Stop the cap. Yeah. Yeah, I seen it with you. I saw it. I seen it. I see it. That's why I don't get the butterflies in the stomach anymore when our offense takes the field. I feel like it could be a touchdown on the first play, or it could be a punt on the first drive, or it could be a long drive that will score or result into some type of a touchdown. That's what I get. That's what I get from Brock Purdy. And so when he comes out on the field, I get the confidence. I get even if there's a mistake, even if there's an interception, I'm like, all right, defense, you got to do your job. Give the ball back to the offense so that they can make up for it. Those are my feelings. But it started to get a little weary in this game when the defense was in the red zone, because I don't think we have the best red zone defense. But I think we have a pretty solid defense. So 2 players that stuck out to me on defense more than anybody. And I got to start with the captain, Fred Warner. Fred Warner was just all over the field once again. He had 12 tackles, 10 of them were solo, and then the half a sack. With the forced fumble, he had 2 pass deflections. One, I wish he could have just ripped it down in the air with one hand, but come on, that was almost an impossible pass. But here's what I loved about that play more than anything. Fred Warner is back. When I say back, I mean he is mentally back. The depth on that play is what I missed from Fred Warner. You know why he played deeper back, ladies and gentlemen? I know I'm getting excited, right? Because he's trusting the front to do their job. He can now play back in coverage. Remember, Fred would play medium or smedium, however you want to look at it. He was playing too close and not far back enough. What did the ball do? Go right over his head? I mean, just missed his fingertips, right? Because he wasn't playing the depth in the field that he usually normally plays, because Fred plays safety. So Fred could play DB. That's one thing about Fred. He could play DB. But the fact that he was playing the depth right I was like, yes! Unfortunately, that ball was kind of high. But the fact that he was able to get up and get his paws on it just made me whatever. Again, Fred Warner on his birthday. Happy birthday to the All-Pro Fred Warner. Happy early birthday to my man Collie out there, man. Happy birthday to you guys. You guys get the round of applause. What a show. I feel like I'm preaching. I feel like I'm doing a sermon every time I do this show. It's like sermon based. Anyway, back to this Victory Monday. Fred played well, and he just looked free. He just looked free. Like free Fred. Fred looked free. He didn't look like he was overcompensating. He had to do too much and things like that. Let's talk about the next defensive player that I thought stood out. Let's talk about Jair Brown. Now, I know his grades don't say that or anything like that, but let's talk about Jair Brown. Let's talk about a rookie that got thrown into the fire probably at the worst opportune time. First play, Baker Mayfield locates the rookie and targets him. He gets caught up. I'm just like, shoot. I'm like, dang. And you knew it was going to happen. It's more like a first play, you got the jitters. You know, you're playing coverage. You got your guy in the inseam. You give him the lane to run out. You don't touch him. And then on top of that, you weren't trying to get a penalty on the play. And then you don't touch him. And the next thing you know, he speed runs by you. You lose your footing because you're backpedaling. You can't backpedal that long, Jair. But he did it, slipped up. Luckily, I will say that the wide receiver that caught that pass also slipped up. Jair's got some speed. He was able to chase him down. That was probably his worst play the whole game. Worst play, big play, worst play the whole game. But when I tell you that this kid from Jersey is serious, when I tell you that this kid is resilient, when I tell you that this young gentleman right there, Mr. Brown, a.k.a. Tig, which I feel like from now on, the locker room need to call him Tig because he tigged that game out. He tigged the day. How many times did Tigger save the day for Winnie the Pooh? I'm just saying. When he tigged the day, and I mean tigged it, you got to give him his nickname back. It's officially earned. I don't care if he got burnt on that first play. He didn't get burnt on the last play. The funniest play was the PBU in the end zone for me. That was the best play of the game. I'll take the interception all day, but god dang, the PBU on my man Mike Evans, the all-pro. I'm talking 100 yards consistently for the however many. He's been in the league for 35 years. Every year, 100 yards. Dude got over 85 billion yards. Like Mike, what you want? And on top of that, it was a ball that Mike was trying to come back to. The refs don't call PI, which they shouldn't have in the first place. It was great coverage. He gets the PBU. I'm like, okay, this kid is learning fast. That's my cousin. It's Jair Brown, learning fast. I'm saying to myself, yeah, I can dig it. Game ain't too fast for him. You want to talk about slow down? The game slowed all the way down after the first play. That's why I'm excited. The game slowed down. That ain't even a word. The game slowed down after the first play. After he got burnt, game slowed down. You know how hard it is to defend in the end zone or the red zone, however you want to call it. Red zone starting at the 20, but you get to the end zone, it's a little tougher. You're running out of real estate. Then you got to go against Mike Evans. They had a rookie on Mike Evans. Shout out to Steve Wilks. You know what? Steve Wilks got to get some props. It did. You can call it fire. You can call it ice. You can call it whatever you want, Kali. When I tell you that PBU made me like jump and hit the ceiling, I mean, literally, I had the Inspector Gadget eject button in this seat last night, and I hit the ceiling on a PBU. Then on the next couple of plays, the next play, you want to talk about reaction? You want to talk? This is why I wanted the 49ers to draft Jair Brown. It's the way he reacts to the football. That ball hung in the air, tipped up in the air. He seals the deal with an interception. If you guys don't like Jair Brown, I know you didn't see enough of him. I'm not crowning him anything as of right yet, but you asked to step in and put the big boy pants on, he put them on. And he did exactly what he needed to do. The reason why I wanted to give Steve Wilks some props is because he called a nickel blitz on that play that he had the PBU on. It wasn't an all-out blitz because Jair Brown was covering Mike Evans, but it was definitely a nickel blitz. You know who blitzed? You know who was in that game? Isaiah Oliver. You know what Isaiah Oliver did? He made Baker Mayfield kind of like hesitate to throw that ball. He might not be good in coverage. He might be the worst DB in coverage. But damn, if y'all don't give Isaiah Oliver some props, the dude had one job. He didn't have 5 jobs. He had one job. Affect this quarterback. Pressure this quarterback. Make him do something different. Usually quarterbacks feel the pressure. They get the ball out their hand quicker. This particular play was like a delayed reaction from Baker to where Baker kind of pumped a little bit like, oh, I don't want to throw it yet. Oh, there it is. It's the pressure. I mean, Isaiah Oliver could do 2 things. One, he could play and tackle well in space. He might be one of the greatest tacklers in space for the San Francisco 49ers. He might be the best tackling DB in space for the San Francisco 49ers. Space in the final frontier. That means when the receiver or running back catch the ball, good luck getting away from him. That's space. And if you had to cover him, that's a little different. And then, making plays. He could be buns. He can still not be good. He can still not be the best DB. But one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to give credit to where credit is due. If Oliver doesn't make that pressure, that ball doesn't get tipped and doesn't hang in the air, and it doesn't get PBU'd. Now, if we want to talk about the next play where Jair Brown makes the interception, I'm sorry, that's the tip pass. It was just fun. It was just fun to watch. It was fun to see Steve Wilks' defense, mainly his secondary, be tested and pass. And I think that's why I got super excited. Offensively, we talked about Brock Purdy. We got to talk about this perfect passer rating before we get up out of here, right? But before I talk about that, let's talk about, some of the other players that stood out. Is it me or did George Kittle have just another solid game? All right. Now, I put out a tweet yesterday during the game that George Kittle is the best tight end in the NFL. And hear me out. If I go off of PFF and grades, guess where George Kittle is ranked? If I go off of grades. Now, I know he's ranked number 2. But I'm going to put him number 1. And the reason why I'm going to put him number 1 is because, I'm looking at the snaps between him and Pharaoh Brown from the New England Patriots, and it's just triple the amount of snaps, the amount of plays, the amount of time he's out there. So, shout out to Pharaoh Brown. You're ranked number 1 as far as your grade, but you ain't playing enough. George Kittle has 555 snaps this season. And the dude is out there balling. He has almost a 90 grade, 89.7. I don't even know if they factored him in for this week. Speaking of grades, I like to talk grades on the show. I like PFF grades. I like to know what they do. Guess who got the highest rated grade for the San Francisco 49ers offense this week? Bet you can't guess. It's George Kittle with an 87.8. George Kittle with an 87.8 grade. 0.2 points higher than Brandon Ayuk, too, by the way. Who was number 2? Brock Purdy was 82.6. Trent Williams, 74.8. And Christian McCaffrey finished with below 70. I'll leave it at that. Defensively, obviously, it was Fred Warner, 83.9. Eric Armstead, 83.6. Tashawn Gibson, 80.1. Nick Bosa, 78.6. And Diamador Lenore, 77.2. And do you know who number 6 was? It was the rookie, Jair Brown, at a 76.8. Shout out to Steve Wilks and his defense. He had 9 players. Javon Hargrave being number 9. Javon Kinlaw being number 7, and Charvarius Mooney-Ward with grades 70 or above. Shout out to Steve Wilks. His defense is putting in that work, and those that do the grading are seeing it. But listen, can y'all just leave my man Elijah Mitchell alone for just a little bit? Because I thought on the snaps that he was given, he did exactly what he normally does. And there are reasons to it, though. I don't want people to, because people say, oh, there's Kylie. He looked more explosive, which he did. But there's reasons why he looked more explosive. It's not just because he's healthy or things like that. Here's the thing. It just seemed like whenever Elijah Mitchell was in the game, the defenses would tee off, okay? They would tee off, and they knew it was a run. So the blocking scheme for the 49ers, they had one extra guy up there at the line that they just didn't block. Every time the ball was hiked, every single time, there was a defender in the backfield. I think Kyle Shanahan started to realize that and switched it up a little bit when Mitchell was in the game. I have to go back and watch the all 22 because I want to know who else was in the game with Mitchell. Was Christian McCaffrey in the game with Mitchell? Was Kyle Juszczyk? Did they run 22 personnel opposed to just one running back in there? I have to go check that out. Okay, I have to go check that out. We got a gifted membership from none other than Mike and Kim, Travel Bud 710. They gifted a membership to my man, the guitar player, the one and only Mr. Tommy Huxley. What's going on, fam? Thank you so much for becoming a member. Truly appreciate it. Listen, but back to Elijah Mitchell. You got to show the kid some love because he went out there, he did his job, and he did his job effectively. He did his job effectively. He did. He did his job effectively. I mean, it was 4 carries. He had the same amount of carries as my man Brock Purdy, but he got 24 yards. So he's averaging 6 yards a carry and led the team in average. Deebo Samuel only had 1 carry in this game for -1 yards. The first run of the game. After that, they used Deebo in the receiving game. So I thought that was pretty cool, right? Elijah Mitchell's starting to get his touches, starting to look more explosive, you know. And I'm wondering if the narrative would change a little bit. Like, I love Jordan Mason, but there's got to be something about Jordan Mason, who had a return too, by the way, in this game, that's affecting his ability to get on the field. Or it could just simply be freaking Kyle Shanahan's going with who he knows and trusts. Could be something simple as that. Nick Knight says, and Breezy, that's on Kyle for not rotating them more earlier this season. It could have been that. It also could have been that he was trying to savor him for the second half of the season. You know what I mean? So yeah, you bring some validity to that statement. But I wonder, the past couple of seasons, there was no Elijah Mitchell to finish off the season. And if you remember last year when he got hurt in week 1 against Chicago, then they brought him back. He was dynamic. He was explosive, but then he got hurt again. And so I'm saying to myself, what if Kyle is just playing the pace game? So he used Jordan Mason during the time of just being able to savor him for the right moments. And now you're starting to see a little bit of things, pop up, when it comes to Elijah Mitchell. So we got to give Elijah Mitchell some credit. He's the guy that Kyle's sticking with. And I mean, four rushes, 4 attempts for 24 yards, 6 yards a carry. I'll freaking take it. He averaged the most. It was the best as far as average. You talk about average, so that's where it is. All right, let's talk about Brock Purdy. Let's talk about Brock. Now, before we end this show on the MVP candidate situation, things like that, let's just talk about Brock Purdy and this perfect passer rating, because to me, these are reasons why he should be considered MVP candidate. So let's talk about that. Is Brock Purdy for MVP? Should he be the MVP or an MVP candidate? He was at the beginning of the season, and then he had that 3-game situation, right? And then he was kind of like removed from the talks, and then he comes out 2 weeks in a row and plays elite style of quarterbacking, like elite. Like, all right, let me ask you this question: which game would you say Brock had the better game? Was it this week against Tampa Bay, or last week on the road against Jacksonville? At the end of the day, they were 2 MVP candidate type of games. And you got to look at quarterbacks like CJ Stroud and things like that, the rookie out there who's been playing really well, but their team isn't winning. And I know you can't throw that in there, but I thought if you're going to be this elite quarterback, your team has to win. Now, it could be mainly because the Niners are just built better. But that ain't Brock Purdy's fault. It's not. He didn't build the team. The team was built. He was asked to come in and do a job. And he's doing it. So you look at Brock Purdy, and I'm sitting here saying, like, gosh, he's the most efficient quarterback in the NFL. He's what? Let me get his stats up here, because we got to have this conversation. And I gotta talk about his stats. And the reason why I got to talk about his stats is because Brock Purdy is playing, 4 interceptions on the season. I'll leave it at that. But the touchdowns are up. And that's my point. So, like, if this dude touchdown to interception ratio is still low, like, how is he not considered? All right, here we go. Woo, Jesus. 18 touchdowns, and they get 5 interceptions this season. My bad. Forgot he had the one in Cleveland. 2 in Minnesota, 2 against the Cincinnati Bengals. So 5. 18 to 5? Shoot. If I pull up, like, CJ Stroud stats, which I can. I don't know why I'm saying that I can't when I can. Let me just open up another window. Name another quarterback in the NFL. I'll give you 2. Here are my 3 quarterbacks that I think should be in the MVP candidate race. All right? Here are my 3, and then you guys hear me out. I will say that I think Brock Purdy is the best quarterback in the NFC. I'll leave it at that. Over Dak Prescott, over Jalen Hurts. I know they're not going to like it, but I don't really care. I will say that Brock Purdy is the best quarterback in the NFC. The numbers don't lie, right? But when you talk about the NFL as a bigger body, it's 32 teams opposed to, whatever. Is Brock Purdy a top 5 quarterback? Like, how is he not? If he's the best quarterback in the NFC. And I know people are going to say Jalen Hurts. I'm not talking about what Jalen Hurts did in 2022. None of that matters. Not even what Brock did in 2022. Throw away 2022. What are they doing in 2023? What are they doing in 2020? That's the question that you have to ask or an answer when you mention Brock Purdy being an MVP candidate. What are they doing? Number one, I will say that Jalen Hurts continues to find ways to win, which is why he's elite. Okay? That's why he's elite. Because regardless of how bad he's playing, which isn't bad, he's just not playing at the same standard or rate he was playing the previous season, which was MVP-ish. Okay? Listen, I like CJ Stroud numbers. 5 interceptions, 17 TDs. Brock got one better than him. So how is Brock not ahead of CJ Stroud? I brought that up. Let me get the next one up. I mentioned Jalen Hurts. Let's get Jalen Hurts up here. Let's see what Hurts is doing. Let's see what he's doing. Because I like Jalen Hurts. I do. I don't want people to think I don't like the kid. I do like the kid. I like other players other than 49er players. 8 interceptions, 15 TDs. So what when you talk about MVP, right? When we talk about the MVP candidate, like, what are we factoring in here? Okay? What are we factoring in here? Now, I know, I don't know if Case 49 is talking about Brock Purdy and things like that. And then I'll do it tomorrow. Says not this again. Brock is not even MVP on his own team. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. But here's the thing. What is he not doing? He's playing better than Patrick Mahomes. He's playing better than Jalen Hurts. Let's get Patrick Mahomes' numbers out here. Because last time I checked, all y'all care about is touchdowns and interceptions. So let's get the touchdowns and interceptions and the wins. I think that factors in, but a lot of people feel like, well, the team helps you win. Well, does the team helps Patrick Mahomes win games, right? Helps Jalen Hurts win games. They only got one loss. Somebody's gonna lose tonight. That's gonna be the thrill in Manila tonight, right? So I feel like what I'm asking is valid. I know people don't want to hear it. I'm not putting Brock Purdy on a pedestal. And then one of the things I loved about Brock Purdy is that he don't give a fuck about none of this stuff. He don't care about any of this stuff. He don't care about perfect passer rating, being compared to the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Joe Montana and Steve Young. He don't care about any of that. He just doesn't. There's only one quarterback, in my opinion, that I feel like in the NFC may be playing better than Brock Purdy. Maybe, slightly. Patrick Mahomes, 17 TDs, 8 interception. Brock Purdy numbers are better. Just want to keep. We're going off of TDs and interceptions. We're going to go off of that. That's what we're going to go off. Okay? That's what we're going to go off. All right? I don't care what y'all say. That's what we're going to do. Okay? Here's the quarterback that I like that may be slightly ahead of Brock Purdy. And it could be because he's doing it on a team that had to work their way up to being talked about. And They're one of the oldest teams in the NFL history. And I know you guys know who I'm talking about. And so when I think of this quarterback, I'm saying to myself, okay, he's out there balling. But Brock Purdy numbers are better. Because last night, he threw 2 interceptions. He might even threw more. I stopped watching. But I like Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff is having an MVP season. But guess what? Brock Purdy numbers are better. I'm talking 16 TDs. Brock got 2 more. And 8 interceptions. Brock got 3 less. I got to go to Lamar Jackson, notorious GAV. I see you, baby. I can see you out the corner of my right eye. I like this conversation. This is what I was kind of like doing on Bleacher Report last night when I ranked the top quarterbacks of the NFC and Brock Purdy finished number 1. Jared Goff finished number 4 because I had Jalen Hurts ahead of him. I got 8 interceptions on this season, unless I'm looking at the wrong season. Kylie says he threw 3 yesterday. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Nigel. Appreciate that. Told you I stopped watching. I was getting pissed off because I think that's who I benched. That's who I benched Brock Purdy for. Freaking Jared Goff, who's been a top fantasy football quarterback. Here's the last one I'm going to look up. I'm going to look up Lamar Jackson. I'm damn sure not going to look up Josh Allen because he got 35 interceptions on this season. We're going to leave it at that. All right, here we go. 12 TDs, 5 interceptions. Looks like Brock's numbers are better than his, too. Shoot. I was about to say another word than shoot. I think Brock even got more rushing touchdowns than Lamar Jackson this year. Brock is having an MVP season, and people don't want to talk about it. Why? Because they don't want it to go to his head? Why? Why? Why not? The teams that I mentioned are all teams that are in the playoffs. I didn't name one quarterback not in the playoffs. I named all quarterbacks in the playoffs. I named Lamar Jackson. I ain't going to talk about Joe Burrow. He out for the season. But they ain't even in the playoffs. So how is it that when Brock Purdy's name is mentioned, people don't want to hear about it? What is he doing? Oh, you want me to check Tua's stats? Got you. See, I'm a man of the people. Make sure you vote for me for president at some point in my life. When I hit 60-something, I'm running for president. I can tell you that right now. It's just a goal of mine. I had a goal since I was in school. Going to run for it. Don't care if I win or not. Just got to find a way to raise the money. Here we go. I forgot about my man Tua, who looked like trash yesterday. And how do I know? I started him in fantasy football. The 1 week I traded for him, I get him. I'm like, I could upgrade. And then I started him. And this is who I might have benched Brock Purdy for. Here we go. 21 TDs, 8 interceptions. So somebody do the math, because he has 3 more TDs than Brock, but 3 more interceptions than Brock. I'm just saying. So Tua still might be the leader, but how? I did Goff. Goff has worse numbers. I'm going off the numbers. I don't think they care about red zone or whatever. At the end of the day, what pops up are TDs, interceptions. If you want to keep it a buck, too, Miami's offense, is built to pad stats. It's built to pad stats. I can name 3 players. One I started yesterday because I thought he was back, and he's probably out for the rest of the season. I'm not trying to make a big fuss about Brock Purdy, but he definitely deserves to have a civil adult conversation when you're talking MVP, because the numbers, ladies and gentlemen, don't lie. He doesn't have to be elite to be an MVP, but his numbers are telling the tale. He doesn't turn over the ball, and he gets touchdowns. So at the end of the day, man, when it comes to Brock Purdy, I didn't even talk about his passer. I didn't even bring this up. This was how we even prefaced the conversation, Mr. Alston. This is how we prefaced it. Perfect passer rating, a.k.a. Brock Purdy, Mr. Perfect. That doesn't mean he has to go out there and be perfect, because he wasn't perfect. He just had a perfect passer rating. I know he wasn't perfect because he missed 4 passes and was sacked 4 times. I wonder if those are the 4 passes he missed. But my point is, he finished the game with a perfect passer rating. And if you're going to put that up there for everybody to see, I love it. Because even though Tua's numbers, 3 more touchdowns, but 3 more interceptions, let that factor in, man. Look, at the end of the day, the Niners are doing what they need to do. They're back on track, and I think that's what's most important. You know what I mean? I think that's what's most important. At the end of the day, that's what's most important. I didn't even mention these numbers. I know. Highly efficient. I know. Oh, Symmetry says they ain't padding stats. Oh. But Sim, that's my reasoning, fam. Dude, I mean, I know speed kills, but god dang. Sometimes they too fast and they mess up, which they didn't look good yesterday. I didn't think that the Dolphins looked like a dominant team in the NFL. And you know what I'm starting to learn about the San Francisco 49ers and Kyle Shanahan? I think the mentality is get to the bye and then turn it up another notch. In the words of Emeril Lagasse, bam, that's what they do. I mean, okay, the pass rush was kind of insignificant in this game, but they still finished with how many sacks we had in this game? 4? So how insignificant was it? Oh, for those that don't know this, hold on. Here's a ding ding for you. You ready? Baker Mayfield, all season long, has only been sacked at the most 3 times. And the Niners just broke that. There's the ding ding for you, and there's the bomb just for that. Bam. They hit him with the 4 sacks. Hasn't been sacked 4 times in one single game all season long. All season long. And the Niners just said, we'll do it 4. We'll do it 4. This team is different. I think they flipped a switch. They hit a button. And the fact that Brock Purdy is clicking is what is most dangerous to teams in the NFL. Because you know what my only question mark about Brock Purdy was coming back off the injury? Were teams, defenses going to be able to find a way to take him out after having film on him? It's been a full year in the NFL, and Brock Purdy struggled maybe 4 games his whole career. Maybe 4. Maybe, I would say 4, maybe 5. Ladies and gentlemen, man, let me make sure I didn't miss anything, any contributions. I do see some stuff out there. My man Colin came in there. I'm sorry if I missed this a little bit earlier. Been a member for 6 months. He says, let's face it. If we don't get the 1 seed, Brock has no chance. That seems to be the yardstick. Well, guess what? My role as a content creator or media, whatever they label me as, I gotta paint the right narrative. Because at the end of the day, even in the games that we lost, Brock Purdy still showed me things or signs of him being elite, of him being the man. Even in the games that we lost. If you go back to the Cleveland Browns game, you look at the game and you say, dang, Brock, dang, you had a bad game. Worst game statistically of Brock Purdy's career. Only threw 1 interception, but he played poorly. He couldn't figure it out. He couldn't adapt. He couldn't adjust. Played timid. But at the end of the game, still drove the team down to score a touchdown, and Jake Moody missed, which he hasn't missed since. Just want to point that out there, Jake Moody. No love for Jake. But I'm just saying this, like, he showed me something in that game, and he showed me resiliency, right? In that game. And then in the Minnesota game, I thought he was pretty much in control. Just the defense laid a couple of eggs, and unfortunately, it just didn't end up in the right. He had 2 interceptions in that game. Cincinnati game, I thought he was back in control, period. He just made a mistake. And after the first mistake, he made another one. I just didn't think, after throwing an interception in the red zone, that got to him. But you know what he's doing? He's freaking learning from it. One game at a time. In the words of Eric Armstead, they asked him what was the key to victory. And he says, we come out here and we focus on one game at a time. And even Brock Purdy said it, which nobody else would say it. So this is why I love Brock. He said, hey, man, maybe I just came in here thinking that this was going to be, I'm not saying that, we were taking stuff for granted, but, we were 5-0, we was swinging our joint just a little bit bigger than everybody else. Like, you know what I'm saying? He came in and said he needed to get back to playing with the chip on his shoulder. All morning, as my son listens to me as I prepare for my shows, as I take him to school. He's playing his little Mario Kart, but he's paying attention. He was listening to Brock. He said, Dad, what is he talking about with the chip? I said, son, you know what? Sometimes when things are just too easy and you don't got to work hard for it, you don't give it your all. And the results don't come out the same. I said, whenever I'm doing a show, whenever I'm performing, I try to bring it every single time. Win or lose, bring it every time. Because at least at the end of the day, I did my best. I'm not going to let this stuff get to me. And that's what Brock is doing. He's showing that he's resilient. Guys, start showing some love for Brock. Start showing us more love for the 49ers, and I'll start showing more love for you because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. Shout out to everybody that makes this happen. Producers, people behind the scenes. I appreciate everything that you do. Keep up the stuff. He said, let's keep the receipts from the podcast. I love it. Keep up the great work. The Niners are back into full swing. Next stop, Seattle. I hope to see you out there. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Let me just explain to you the Wayne Breezy Show for this week. This will be probably the only episode, and then after that, I will be traveling on Wednesday as well as Friday. I may do a call-in show only Wednesday before I hit the road. I'm going to try to do the Madden Sim either tomorrow or Wednesday, so it depends, and things like that. But the John and Wayne Show will be live on John's channel, 49ers Rush Podcast, tomorrow. Don't forget to tune in tonight at 7 p.m. for Nitty Gritty Niners Talk. We'll give you a power hour because we know y'all want to watch that thriller in Kansas City. We're going to watch that game. All right, so let's have some fun. Y'all stay faithful and make America great again. Love you, Rob. Appreciate you, fam. F the Seahawks. You already know what time it is. Love y'all. Stay up. Stay faithful. And don't forget to support your boy over there at residency.com. There it is. Use that promo code SFBreezy. Till the next time. Let's keep it faithful to the Bay. Let's go.
I be sipping gold bar, whiskey on the rocks, and a 24-karat gold on a watch. My 7-1 Chevy be tipping non-stop, sounding like Trent Williams on the block. So you know we can't stop, we be banging through your speakers. Wayne Breezy on the field or in the bleachers. You can tune into my show and I'm a teacher. Wayne Breezy, the 4-9 preacher.